Welcome to Inside the Music with your host, Andy Schwartman. I'm your producer, Senor Reek. You won't see a whole lot of me today. I'm just kind of in the background. I might help guide the conversation a little bit later. But let's get the show on the road. Here's your host, Mr. Andy Schwartman. Andy, who's our special guest today?
Today our special guest is Andrew Newbold.
Howdy, everybody. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Andy.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Andy, tell us a little about Mr. Newbold.
He is originally from Dayton, Ohio. He is an accomplished musician, guitarist who started a cover band that's been around since 1994 that centers around the band The Grateful Dead.
I didn't start it. I wasn't one of the founding members, but I was in.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad.
Okay, I've been around for the long haul, though.
Okay. Bartender at Taft Theater. Well, former DJ at WNKU 89.7 FM on the Golden Radio program. Bartender at Taft Theater, also used to work at Riverbend and Guitar Center. That's cool. Alumni of University of Cincinnati, and Wright State University. A veteran of the local concert scene, Andrew, you have attended literally hundreds of concerts, ranging from the Cramps, the Grateful Dead, of course, David Byron or whatever, Van Halen, the Beastie Boys, Fish, Bad Brains, and Prince, just to name a few. Andrew, thank you for being with us, and welcome to Inside the Music.
Great to be here.
Thanks a lot. So, who wants to go first, you or me?
Andy, why don't you just get the ball rolling and ask Andrew about some of his experiences going to concerts and stuff. I believe you have a list of questions there.
Hang on just a minute. I know this is a one-take thing, but hang on just a minute.
That's all right. We're good.
Okay. That's a relief. Have to look back at my notes. You know how that stuff goes.
Yeah.
Nuts.
You want me to get the ball rolling, Andy?
So, oh yeah. Okay. Duh.
What do you got?
So, first of all, what was your first concert and how old were you?
My first concert was the Cow Sills at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds in 1970.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I had a bunch of older brothers and sisters, so I was kind of born into the height of Beatlemania with teenage brothers and sisters all around the house. And
there you go. All right.
Parents were always very willing to let them take me out, babysit me wherever they went, whether it was a bar or down to Montgomery County Fair to see a concert. So my first show was the Cow Sills.
Okay.
Followed a couple of years later by Bob Dylan Rolling Thunder Review in Dayton. My brother Tom took me to that.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Which honestly went right over my head as like a fourth grader. It was in hindsight, it was really nice to have been there, but at the time it was painful.
Oh, I bet.
I was just starting to get into Kiss and Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin, and I just didn't get it, but glad to have been there.
Nice. Second question, if I can, is in terms of music, who were some of your earliest discoveries as a young man?
Well, like I kind of said before, I was born into a house of teenagers in 1964. So unlike most kids who grew up with quote unquote children's music, there was no children's music in my life. It was just the Beatles from day one.
Nice.
That's all I really listened to till I was maybe, I don't know, a little older when I started going places and hearing things on the radio. But music of my own choice and what was played in the house was Beatles all throughout my formative years. And then I kind of discovered the Led Zeppelins and Aerosmiths and Alice Coopers of the world, right at the perfect time, 4th, 5th grade, budding imagination, big productions and shows and raging guitar licks. So I kind of just took to that like a fish to water.
Nice.
Aerosmith and Kiss and Led Zeppelin were all way up there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big turning points in my life is kind of a moment of finding somebody. I'd heard this guy Jackson Browne on the radio, and I kind of really liked a couple of the tunes. And it was like, I think it was the summer of 1978. I had my money for my paper route, and I was going to buy Kiss Double Platinum 2. Psyched. And I got there, and I had the record in my hand, and I'm looking at the price, and I'm going, I got every one of these songs except for the Strutter remix, and I don't even like the Strutter remix. What am I buying this record for?
Yeah.
And just like, as a total turnaround, I just went and picked up Jackson Browne, Running on Empty instead, and went home with that, which was
okay.
A total left turn, but it kind of started my next phase of music, which was Steely Dan, Little Feat, The Grateful Dead, Doobie Brothers, the West Coast kind of smooth jazz, smooth production sounding stuff. Kind of went head deep into that for kind of a long time, and that spurred on a big love of Southern rock, which brought in the Allman Brothers and the Outlaws, Grateful Dead, and 38 Special. Yeah, Leonard Skinner. I remember the day that the plane crashed vividly in 8th grade.
Wow,
how fun
I bet.
Yeah, that was a heck of a year. I think John Lennon also died that year. There was all kinds of stuff going on, all kinds of turmoil. Bon Scott died that same year, I think. All the rock stars that we were starting to like be aware of were dropping like flies. John Bonham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that takes me to about my 20s, early teens and 20s, and then the world kind of opens up once you go outside of your home, and whether you move out or go to college or whatever you do, you really start to get that's the big influence. You meet so many different people with so many different tastes and styles of music that your head just kind of, at least me as a freshman in college, my head just kind of blew up with all the different stuff that was going on around me. It was great.
I bet.
1980, late 83, 84 was my freshman year at UC. Music was definitely changing then. New Wave was coming on. MTV was still relatively new, so you had that weird influence of MTV over the radio as to what was popular, as to what was not popular. All kinds of cool stuff.
Nice. So I'm sure you're familiar with people like Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and Guns N' Roses and so on and so forth, probably.
Sure. I went through a fairly big metal phase. Being from Dayton, I kind of excluded two of the bigger influences of my life, both that being metal and funk. If you're from Dayton, you're part of the Blue Jean Arena Rock Army. It's kind of like where it originated from at Hare Arena.
Yeah, I've heard of that, or I've heard of that venue before.
Oh yeah, I went to a few shows there too.
It was a great little place. I think it was only about 6,000 or 7,000 people. It was a hockey rink, and it was a pretty intimate experience. And they had a lot of great shows that were constantly going through there.
Yeah. Hey, this is great stuff. I hate to interrupt, but let's wrap up part one. Andy, if you want to sign off, and then we'll ask everybody to stick around for part two, or stay tuned, I should say. And we'll do part two next. We'll pick up there where we left off.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching part one. Stay tuned for part two.
Thanks for being with us, Andrew.
Sure. I didn't even get to Van Halen yet.
Yeah, right.